Okay, ladies, so for the first half of the video today, we're just going to use I'm using a color erase pencil, a ruler, and then my 16.5 by 11.5 moleskin journal. So we're going to start off by just finding the page is blank. And to start the face, what I did was I just used the bottom of my gesso container. Now you could use a CD, you know, an old CD or whatever, but basically you're just going to take your pencil and kind of just run around like a half moon shape, just to kind of give you a starting point for your face. That way you don't have all the lines from drawing circles and erasing and trying to keep going. You just got this nice round face, which with these big-eyed girls works really great. Then you're going to take your ruler, and where you think the eyes should be, you're going to draw a line. Now, I think I'm going to set my eyes off just a little for this one. So I'm going to draw a very light line there. And then I'm going to go to the center of the face, figure out where I think her chin's going to be, and draw a very faint line going here. Now this has got to do with the rules of thirds and how you divide pages and things like that. But basically we're just going to do the rest by sight and go from there. So the eyes are going to be here, and you know that. So then you're going to figure out the nose goes halfway down. So that's going to be about right there. And between the nose and the chin is where your mouth's going to be. So you're going to go about halfway there. And just kind of give yourself little markers so you have an idea of where you're going to go. Now for the next part, I put my eyes here. And I like to start with just a little dot, just so that I have a spot and I know that at least in this position they're even. And then you're going to make kind of a, let's see, a half a circle. You're going to kind of go up and like that. Okay, and then you're going to come down a little bit here. Kind of give it like a little V on the corner, and then a scoop. Kind of like you're scooping ice cream. Like that. And then you're going to do the same thing on the other side. Now this side has got a little bit more room between where the eye's going to stop in the corner of the face because she's turned sideways. So you're going to have to kind of judge. Let's see, if this is the top here, kind of go like this and stop. And then here, and then do that scoop again like that. And then you can kind of finish off your edges just so that they meet in the shape of the eye. And then we'll go back and erase whatever lines you don't want here in a minute, because you're going to need some of those for like your eyelids and things like that as well. So just kind of give it the shape that you think it should have, and give this one a little more rounded there. Okay, and then any unwanted lines you can go back and erase. And that includes the ones that you used as your markers for the eyes. Okay, now we're going to skip the eyes for a few minutes and go to the nose. Now the nose, you've got two nostrils. So what you're going to do is put your two nostrils there, and then you're going to make like a half moon, like a crescent moon shape, kind of like that. And then off to the side, you're going to add in the two little teeny tiny scoops. Can you see that? And then this is the top of the nose. All right. And then you've got your little dip between your lips. You've got the V top part of the lips, and then your lips come out at an angle. And again, out at an angle. Okay, and so you kind of just do it real lightly, so if you need to erase, you don't have any indentions in your paper, and it'll still be nice and smooth when you're finished, okay? And then the bottom half is more of a, kind of like a square, and then just round it on the edges some. And you can make them as fat or as skinny as you like. That's really just a preference. I personally kind of like to give them a little more, but I don't want to make it so sharp that they look like they've got like a prude face on or whatever. So kind of like that. And the beauty with these color erases is that it kind of works like a watercolor. So when you go in later to paint your picture, the lines are going to blend in because it does work like a watercolor. Now for the eyes, you're going to go to the corner where you think, kind of like that, and then do another half line over here. And same on this one. Okay. And then I want her to, well, we'll have her looking just straight up and down. But we're going to give this one a little bit of an eyelid. Normally I don't put eyelids on my dolls, but this one we're going to do the eyelid for because she's going to be a beach girl, and I want her to look really sweet. Almost, not really sad, but just really sweet and innocent. So we'll make these eyes really nice and big and very whimsical. So kind of clean it up a little bit like that. And then we're just going to go here in the middle. Now, because I do want her to look so innocent, I'm going to make these nice size pupils. So you kind of go like that and just do a half-shaped circle. Because really, if you were doing the whole circle, the other part of the circle would be up here where your eyelids are. And you can't see that part. So you're going to do that again over here. And then once you think you've got them even, you can go ahead and clean your eyes up. We'll do a little shading right here because you know that's going to be part of the tear duct, and that's always darker. And then we're going to put in the eyebrows. So you take about right here between where your nose starts, and you just very, very gently kind of give yourself the nose bridge, and then you've got your eyebrow like that. And then again, you're going to do your eyebrow the same over here. Your nose bridge kind of comes down even with your eyebrows into your nose. So kind of like that. And then when you do your shading and things, you're going to go back and kind of fill this area in. Just kind of want to give you, if I can, a little kind of an idea of what it's going to look like. And then so it kind of goes up, and that kind of forms her nose bridge. Okay. So clean the eyes up a bit so we know what we're doing. Alright. And then just because to me she looks like an alien, I go ahead and I fill in the eye with the pencil. That just makes it easier for me to realize that that is her eyes, and that's what her expression is going to look like a little bit better when those are shaded in, just so that I know what they are. Otherwise she looks scary. And just so that my shading's nice and light, I'm using the side of my pencil. I don't know if you can, but basically you just do it on the side, and it covers up more area than if you were trying to use the point, and it also makes it look smoother. She kind of looks like a drug addict though, so let's clean her up here. But that was just to kind of demonstrate where her nose is going to run. Okay, so that kind of gives you your face, or at least, you know, the main important elements of your face, and you got a little chin here. I want her nose to be a little bigger there. Okay. So because I want her to look so sweet, I want to go ahead and see, maybe give her, I'm going to give her big red cheeks, but I don't know, we'll see. Definitely makes her look like a baby doll. I don't know if I like those, so let's... And that's the beauty of your eraser. Okay, so now we're going to do the hair. And for her hair, I'm going to start up here. Now your head would normally be, it's not a perfect circle, so you kind of have to judge where your head would be. Usually people have a little bit more higher in one spot than in others. So I think I'm going to use this right here for my part. And then kind of go off by her ears. And then do the same on this side and go off by her ears. And you want to hold your hand real loose when you're doing the hair so it doesn't look stiff. It looks realistic, because you know, if you hold it and you go real stiff, then it's not going to look real. It's going to look like you meant for it to. It won't look real, and you want it to look as close to realistic as possible. So this is just going to be part of the hair. I think I want it a little bit higher because she's an island girl. We're gonna kind of do it like that. I'm going on this side and come out just a little, do the same thing, and you start small and build out. It's much easier to come back in later when you've started small and add more than it is to go back and erase, because with erasing, you know, you're going to have all your lines and things. So we're just kind of going to build up on her hair a bit here. Again, I have a very heavy hand, so I tend to go with the side of my pencil so that I don't get those really dark lines in my paper. So if I needed to change or erase, I can, and it doesn't leave behind any marks. Still don't feel like I got that quite as round as I wanted. Here's what's easier. You know, she is in the tropics, so her hair's not going to be laying perfectly straight. So I'm going to kind of give it like a little bit of a, hopefully a wind effect there going on. And then we're going to do her shirt. Now, for her shirt, because she is a whimsical doll, I don't want her to have a long neck. I want her to have like a really short neck. So kind of go in a little bit wider than, I should go at the corner of your eyes. And that should be a good spot for your neck. That way it's not too big for her. And it's not actually perfectly proportioned, but it's just big enough so that when she has her collar, it works out nice like that. Okay, so then you're going to go around to do your shoulders, and it's a lot behind the hair, so just kind of leave that there and then come out right here maybe like that, and then do the same on the other side. Actually, that's a little too stiff. Let's not make it quite so far out. And do the same on this side. You just go out a little ways and then kind of curve to make your shirt there. Figure her waist. It's going to be about right. Put it right here. Okay, so kind of give it like that. And you can draw any kind of clothing you want to put on your girl. I think for some reason this one she just reminds me of summer, and it's kind of the plan I had when I sit down to draw was a summer girl. So we're going to just start adding some details. Now she's going to wear a skirt, kind of like a hula skirt, I think. Just kind of go like this. And of course you can't see all of her because she's too low on the paper. But at least with the grass skirts, you know, you can add in those little... Little Hula girl. Oh, I think her stomach is really long. Let's move that up here some. That looks about right. Okay, so she's got on a little grass skirt. We'll give her a belt with a flower. We'll just do like a regular flower here. This is kind of like a daisy. There we go. And then around her neck, we'll give her some flowers. And I'm just making little loops off the circles to make them look like flowers. Okay, make sure you mix those there. And like I said, you can change your outfits to whatever you like personally. It doesn't have to be the same. She doesn't have to be a hula girl if you don't want a hula girl, but she just reminded me of summer. And I wanted to go ahead and do something for summer. Hoping to do a dolls class for the holidays, so if you'll like this one and want to check us out, you can go to HettiesNest.ning.com and find out some information there. Alright, so I'm going to fix her hair up a little bit here and just kind of get in some of the last little bit of strands, and then we will come back in a few minutes probably and start working on the background. So just gonna so I'm gonna add a tiki torch over here to the corner, and this is gonna be the sand on the beach. So we've got our sand here, and then here's the beginning of the tiki torch, and I think it's got more of a like a belt kind of thing there. Let's just do it that way. And then the flames kind of go like this. I think my tiki part here is a little too big, so we're going to make it a little smaller. And you don't want a perfectly straight line because tiki torches are bamboo sticks. So, you know, you don't want them to be perfectly straight. And then usually they're kind of more like that put together. Let's put a little more smoke in her. About like this. Okay. Alright, so we got our tiki torch and we've got our little islander girl with her little bikini on. Okay, so the only thing I think she needs now is just maybe a flower for her hair. Just can't quite decide what I want to do. I think we're just going to do a flower. And it's just going to be kind of like a generic, with just really nice big full leaves, kind of. And then this way. Okay, can't really see her flower, but if I go back in and I erase the hairlines and kind of clean it up just a bit, what you will see will be what you color in for your flower. And then you can add whatever details in your flower you want. But at least you've got your starting lines. You're not going to see any of these lines when you're done. And the fact not a lot of people, in fact not a lot of artists clean up after themselves when they draw. I really like to have my lines defined and know what I'm going and where I'm going with things. So I tend to like to outline a little bit better before I go get my paints and things. So I'm just going to kind of outline the outside of the flower. Not really even sure what kind of flower it is, but by the time we're done, it's going to definitely be a tropical one. And so we put some more lines in. You can put a little something like this here if you want, or whatever. It's really, no. Makes it look too Christmassy. Okay. And there is the beginning of our islander. Alright, so I'm not going to have you watch me as I go back and clean up my lines, but I will be back in just a minute and we will do some more painting together. Okay, so for the painting today, I've decided I want to work with the Crayon Dash crayons. They are Neo Colors 2. They're water-soluble crayons, and they go on like a crayon and then you wash them out. So I'll show you how that works. But just to kind of see how it's going to react to my paper, because I'm not sure if this paper is watercolor paper or not. I'm going to just start with her eyes, because that's something I can easily fix, and it won't give me, you know, any trouble. So we're going to start just by putting the color down on her eyes. And you don't want to bear down too hard with your crayons, because you don't want to leave the indentation from the crayons, again, just kind of like the pencils. But you want to put down enough color that when you add the water, it reacts like the watercolor would, and it fills them in nice and bright. Now, if you wanted more of a dull texture, then of course the lighter the crayon, the duller the color. So we're going to see how this reacts first, and then go from there. I'm just, for some reason, not sure that this Moleskine journal is water soluble, and I didn't add gesso to the paper to start, so had I done that, then I wouldn't have any problems. And it looks like it's going to be okay. So we're just going to spread this color out and start filling her in. Again, these are watercolors, so they look like a watercolor. They're just pretty easy to apply, and you get that nice shading variation in the colors without all the extra work. So definitely a recommended, if I would definitely recommend this product because it's a great one. It's easy to work with. so we will let those dry. Now it looks like I might be applying way too much water, because this brush just doesn't, oh, very ashy for some reason. This is my very first moleskin journal. I've heard a lot of great things about them. So we'll see. I know it's great to sketch in, and I love the size. I couldn't ask for a better size. But let's see how that holds up to dry in, and then, oh, it still looks okay. So I guess we will keep going. I almost feel like I'd rather use my markers on this texture, but I only have one really big one, and then a bunch of the little ones by Suzuki, I think is what it is. S-A-R-U-R-A. I'm definitely Southern, so my pronunciation and yours will definitely not be the same. But I have their little ones, but I don't have but one of the big ones, and I'm not sure what kind of colors this will allow me to use, but I'm thinking that I don't really care for the crayons in this book. I love my crayons, so don't misunderstand. So let's see what we have. We have greens. Well, let's just try it, and then what we need, we can come back and use the crayons for if we don't have what we want. So these are the Perma-Opaque markers by Suzuki, and it's like, again, it's S-A-K-U-R-A, and they are from Japan, and they work beautifully. I'll give those a minute to dry, and I'll just show you how easy it is. And then they come in two sizes. They have the little one, that's their fine point. It's like a 1.0, and then they have their larger marker, which has two tips. It has the round bullet tip on one end, and then on the other it has the chisel tip. The beauty is they will color on top of anything. So if I had sit here and painted this all in acrylics, I could go back and add in details using these markers, and that's what I like about them. They're very universal. So anyway, let's go and start working on our flower. Now this again would be when the really big tips would be perfect. These little teeny tiny tips, they don't work great for filling in large surfaces, but these little flowers here around her neck would be good. The flowers and the flames, the flames here would be okay too. Just don't know. Okay, so after some careful consideration and some trial and errors, we've decided that I have decided that we're going to use the dabbers to paint our girls with. Now, these dabbers are by Ranger, and they're really great to use, but I do want to use them with a paintbrush just because some of the areas I have are smaller, and I don't want the streaks that the top would leave behind when applying the paint, or the sponge would leave. So I'm going to reach over here and try to grab a paintbrush. And since we're going to start with the flower, let's get one up this size. This will work. Alright, so we're going to start. Again, these are the dabbers by Ranger. This one is called Sunset Orange, which I think would be a beautiful color for that flower. Just to make sure it didn't look, I don't know, just I think this would be a good color. So we're going to start with the flower. And just apply the paint. You can go straight on, you don't have to add water or anything. And then if you leave the brush marks alone, it will give your flower texture, or any of your pieces texture, if you want that. If you don't, you'd prefer a smoother surface, then just smooth it out or use a bigger brush. But this works really nice at leaving texture behind. And they paint over everything, and they're just really great paints. And they come in a wider range of colors than like the markers do that I was telling you about earlier. But again, those markers are awesome, and I'll tell you more out those later because we will use those in a little while. Okay, so we are just going to start adding some paint and some color and see what happens.